What is going on, guys? Today I bring you round 2 of a new tournament, Open Festival dos Galitos, which is actually the open tournament of my club. So, very excited to play this one. This was played last month. In the first round, I got paired up against a kid who barely knew how to move the pieces, so not really worth showing the game. And in round two, I got paired up against Hugo Araújo, a 1263 rated player. So let's see how the game went. So my opponent had the white pieces and he started with knight f3. Here I have a lot of moves, but I decided to go for knight f6, play symmetrical. He played g3, and here I played d5. Bishop g2, e6, castles, and bishop e7. So sort of this Queen's Gambit declined setup against the King's Indian attack, which I felt comfortable with. Here my opponent played d3, very standard. I played c5, knight bd2, knight c6, and my opponent did strike in the center with e4, which is also another very typical idea in these positions. Here I played a5, and yeah, I also like to play this with the white pieces, honestly. Lately I've been trying it more and more online. I haven't had the chance to play it over the board yet, but I will. And the game pretty much revolves around a fight between kingside play from white and queenside play from black. And so white just tries to attack on the king side and black just tries to attack on the queen side. So yeah, I just started the attack immediately with a5, pretty much ignoring all this tension in the center, which I don't mind having. Here my opponent played e5, which it is definitely a move, but I don't know. I would say that it's maybe a little bit premature to play e5 so soon, but okay, knight e7. Now I'm attacking the pawn. Rook e1, queen c7 here, attacking the pawn another time, so 3 times, and my opponent plays queen e2. And here I had a chance to play a very important move. I played a4, which is slightly imprecise. The best move here would be b5, and it makes a lot of sense because it plays against one of white's ideas of c4. And if you guys been watching me for a little bit, you remember that I had a very similar game against a 2000 rated player, João Dias here. It was actually from a French defense, but we transposed into this sort of King's Indian attack. And in that game, I got in huge trouble against the move c4, which kind of like paralyzed my position. And here with this move order, I would have been able to play b5 just in time to meet c4. So let's say my opponent went c4 anyways. In the game, I didn't have b5 in the other game, so this is completely different. B takes c4, d takes c4, and now just bishop a6. Very important resource, putting immediate pressure on this diagonal, and probably something like b3 here. But knight b6, I keep putting pressure on c4, and I'm not stuck at all. I feel like I have a very good position here as black, because I'm fighting on the queen side very, very well. But okay, I missed this idea once again. I played a4. My opponent should have gone c4 here, but he went knight f1, and that was fortunate for me, because now I play b5 and I stop the idea with c4. And played bishop f4, which also makes sense to develop the bishop, and it's probably the best square to also keep protection of the e5 pawn. But here my opponent allows this a3 move. It's very important. As I said, I have been studying this position for the white side. Also from the black side, I really find these King's Indian attack positions fascinating. from both sides. I feel like very rich position. And normally, what grandmasters that I've watched recommend here when black is threatening a3, you should play a3 yourself. And okay, you are moving pawns in front of your queen side, but you kind of stop this expansion for a little bit, let's say, before you can now ignore it and keep attacking. And it's no longer the same. And now here with a3, it's kind of hard to take here because you're opening the a file for my rook. I kind of accomplished what I wanted from the opening. And if you play b3, okay, you kind of stop that, but you create a lot of weaknesses on the dark squares, and this will prove very costly in the near future. So here my opponent played c3, which it was sort of weird. I castled. I could have probably taken on b2, but after queen takes b2, I didn't really want to go into this position without being castled. I feel like I was playing a little bit with fire by keeping the king in the center, so just castles. My opponent took on a3, which felt like very weird, because now, okay, I take with the rook, and the whole point of taking on a3 was to gain this tempo on the rook on a3. And here I spent some time. I was, considering some moves like b4, queen a5 here, and maybe even like rook a5, although that doesn't look that good. But yeah, I spent some time. It was like my first like big thing of the game for sure. And here I played b4. So after, and my idea was that after takes on b4, here I would just take with the pawn. And all of a sudden, okay, my rook is defended, this pawn is well defended as well. I'm gonna play bishop a6, rook b8, or rook c8, or even rook a8. It would depend on what my opponent did. And all of a sudden, like, I just won the battle on the queen side, and I'll put a lot of pressure. And meanwhile, white doesn't have an attack. This knight looks very stupid on f1. And yeah, I was definitely in the driver's seat here and better already. But my opponent played d4, and this move I wasn't expecting at all. And yeah, it felt very, very weird to me. But here I took another big thing. I probably thought for like 25 minutes here, something along those lines. So I actually thought for a long time here. Because at first sight, it just looks like I can win this pawn on c3. But I spent a lot of time calculating like bishop d2 here, rook back to a3, and sort of see if my opponent had any like counterplay chances. Let's say, for example, takes here. Yeah, I don't know, maybe a rook to c1. All of a sudden there's a lot of pressure here, and I was trying to calculate all of this because it felt just very weird to just hang this pawn. But yeah, I also had probably queen a7 protecting the rook, but I ended up taking on c3 because I thought, okay, even though my opponent can win some tempos with, for example, bishop d2, I thought that wouldn't be so bad after all. Something like rook ac1, I probably can even go something like queen a7, and I thought here that I probably was fine better, and the pawn would be a pawn up, like this pawn, extra pawn, passed pawn would be worth losing some tempos with the rook. Actually, it's funny that I want to point out that I'm seeing now with the engine that after bishop d2, I have this cute tactic of rook takes on f3, sacrificing the exchange here to take on d4. And yeah, after bishop g2, knight takes e5, another pawn falls, and the computer says that this is just completely winning for black, and it does look super winning because knight f3, double knight f3 is a threat, picking up the exchange, and my pawns are just so strong. During the game, I didn't see this at all during my calculation, but now that I'm looking at it, Jesus Christ, I would love to play this position as black. But okay, this actually didn't end up happening. After rook takes on c3, my opponent played knight e3, and again, 3 moves in a row. I spent a lot of time calculating as well. I spent probably another like 15 minutes here. Here I was pretty much calculating this line of capturing this pawn on d4, and after knight captures on d4, pawn captures on d4, knight takes on d5, e takes on d5, and e6 here. I was calculating all of this in my mind, trying to see if this was worth going for. Something like queen c5 and pawn takes knight, bishop takes knight, and I was trying to evaluate this position, which is slightly better for black for sure. It's like minus 1.3, so not slightly better, like a lot better. But yeah, I didn't really want to go into this because I felt like, you know, it was just way too complicated, and I was trying to not, you know, try not to stir the game into like something complicated. I just wanted to keep it simple because I thought that I mean, if I can win with just simple chess, I prefer that over just super tactical and sharp chess, because like a single mistake, a single error in calculation can just throw the game away. And if you just play like this positionally, it's less likely to happen that a positional mistake will destroy your whole advantage. So yeah, I went queen a7. Also, I just want to point out that this line that I showed you with knight takes and here knight takes on d5 and e6, I was actually very proud of finding this idea, because this sort of idea from white of sacrificing the knight on d5 and then pushing the pawn with the discovery attack is like a type of tactic that I would miss a lot like a couple months ago. And I've improved in my tactics a lot, and I'm proud that I was able to spot this during the game, because yeah, for me tactics has always been the weakest point of my chess, and I feel it feels good to start to you know, get better at it slowly. So yeah, I just wanted to make that that statement there. So queen a7 here, my pawn takes on c5, I take with the knight, I'm threatening knight d3 with a triple fork. So yeah, here I was very confident in my position. My pawn plays rook d1, I play knight d3 anyway, forking the queen and the bishop. Queen b1, I take the bishop, and now I have the bishop pair. My pawn has a damaged structure, and I thought that I was probably completely winning here, but I still had to show some technique. So yeah, here I played bishop c5, very natural, just putting pressure on the e3 knight. My opponent plays rook d3, sort of attacking my rook and also protecting the knight. I decide to take on e3, and my opponent made a huge blunder here with rook takes on c3, which just loses a piece on the spot. Here I was expecting something like rook takes on e3, rook takes on e3, pawn takes on e3, and queen takes on e3. And here after queen h1, okay, I can even pick another pawn, and yeah, this would also be horrible for white. Now I have this intermediate move, bishop takes on f2 with check, very important. And now after king h1, I take the rook, and yeah, if we take a look at the material count, we both have light square bishop and a knight, but I also have an extra bishop here, and I have an extra pawn on actually I have two extra pawns, so yeah, this is just resignable at this point. But okay, my opponent still just try to fight with queen c2, and I just wanted to make a move that wouldn't lose a piece or anything like that. I decided to play bishop d7, just a simple developing move, which, you know, couldn't really be a blunder. So just take it easy, you know. My opponent took on c3, the pawn on c3, and now the whole idea of just leaving that pawn hanging was bishop d4 here, attacking the queen and also x-raying the rook. And now my opponent is forced to trade a set of pieces, and I would take like this, and after rook c1 the game would continue, but I simplified a little bit, which is always nice. But after bishop d4, my opponent just resigned the game, and I won, and I was very happy with this game. It was a very smooth win, and yeah, I was happy that I didn't really make any huge mistake, and I was able to capitalize on my opponent's mistakes. So yeah, you can't really ask for a better game with the black pieces. And yeah, this was round 2, and I went on to have 2 points out of 7. So very nice. I'll see you guys next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this game, and any questions, you can write it down on the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.